Hi, Merry Christmas and welcome to our house. I'm Rachel Davison and this is my daughter Anna. And today we're going to show you how to make a spiced pear bundt cake. This is an awesome cake to serve at Christmas time. It tastes really nice in the fall, but it adds a special flair to your Christmas party, especially if you're having a dessert buffet. It would make a perfect centerpiece. So let's get to it. This is an Anjou pear from our farm. You can see that it's still green, but it's actually completely ripe, and that's something I didn't know about Anjou. They're the perfect pear to use in the winter time because they taste better and better over the winter months. So the way to tell if it's ready isn't by when it turns yellow like with a Bartlett. Rather, it's just when it's a little bit soft. So if you pick it up and you feel it and it's starting to be nice and soft, this one gives really easy, then I know it's juicy and it's ready to go. So we're gonna cut into our pears and we're gonna chop up, we need 3 cups of pears, which will be approximately 3 pears. We're gonna start by cutting the pear in half and into quarters. And we're gonna take out the core, and then I'm gonna take off the peel. You can use a peeler. I prefer to use a knife when I'm working with pears because they're very soft. Cut it into strips. Now I've found with this cake, if your pieces of pear are too big, it's hard to get the bundt cake out of the pan later because of all the fruit in it. So you want your pears to be, like I like them to be about like that. Okay, so we've got our 3 cups of pears cut up here, and what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna put some sugars and also some spices on top of the pears, and I'm gonna let them just sit and kind of get juicy and spiced while we make the rest of our cake. This is 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. Good. 2 tablespoons of white sugar. 1.5 teaspoons of cinnamon and 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg. And we're gonna dump that on our pears as well. This pulls the juice out of the pears and it just really intensifies the flavor of the spices because it kind of soaks up in the pears while we're making the rest of our cake. So this is 2 cups of all-purpose flour. This is 1 cup of whole wheat flour. 3 teaspoons of baking powder and 1 teaspoon of salt.
Both of them down?
You bet. Good job, Anna. We're gonna set that aside now and do our wet ingredients. We're gonna start here with our sugar. This is 1.5 cups of white sugar. There's 4 eggs. I always like to crack them into a little bowl first, just in case you get a bit of shell in there or something, like that. Good, and then you can crack another. Awesome. Let's whisk the eggs into the sugar.
Okay.
Then we're gonna add 3/4 cup of milk. Put 1/2 cup of oil. I'm also gonna do 1/2 cup of applesauce. We're just gonna use applesauce to bring it up to 1 cup.
Sauce, get out.
Okay, we're ready to assemble them. Now we are gonna add our dry ingredients to our wet. Anna's gonna very carefully dump the dry into the wet. So we're gonna start in the middle. Gonna dump in our pears. Let's mix those pears and spices in. Oh, that smells good, doesn't it, Anna?
Yeah.
Like Christmas. Now when you're making a bundt cake, it's very important to grease the pan well. I don't like to use non-stick cooking sprays when I'm making a bundt cake because they get kind of gummy. So I'm just gonna use, this is just a square of margarine. You can see I've used it for greasing before. And I am gonna generously grease my pan. So I'm just gonna go around everywhere. I'm gonna flour it as well. And that will ensure that your cake pops out. Mommy's gonna do this part, Anna. So I'm just gonna go around like that. Don't worry if there's too much because afterwards I'm gonna tap it like that and I'll dump out any excess. Let's bring our cake over to the oven and let's let it bake for somewhere between 50 and 60 minutes. I'm gonna set my timer for 55. We are gonna put in 1/4 cup of real butter, emphasis on
This
the
one?
real. Yeah. We throw it in our pot.
Full.
Good. And we are going to put that on the stove and we are going to let it brown. Stir it, and we actually are going to cook it away here for about 5 minutes, believe it or not. And we're just going to let it keep on cooking. And you'll see it change after approximately 5 minutes, but you want to stir so that it doesn't burn. Now you can see that it's lost its yellow color and it's turned kind of a golden brown. There's even kind of little flecks in there, and that's when it's done. Sugar here, which is about as much as I'm going to need, but I'm going to start by adding 1 cup. Let's take a minute to transfer it here into this. This is a 4-cup measuring cup, which will give me lots of room. I'm gonna add 1 teaspoon of vanilla. I'm just gonna eyeball it here. And about 2 or 3 teaspoons of boiling water or hot water. So 1. We are gonna slowly add the rest of our ice. If you think it's the right consistency, you can stop adding icing sugar. And if it gets too thick, you can always add a little bit more hot water. So it's easy to play around with it to get it just how you want it. Look at that. So let's glaze our cake. So 55 minutes has gone by, and let's check on our cake. It's looking really good. Let's pull it out here. Now there's 2 ways to tell if a bundt cake is done. I'm just gonna gently push on the top of it. I see that it's firm and it springs back up when I push on it. Another way, and I like to usually do them both actually, is to use a toothpick. So I'm gonna put a toothpick right where it's the thickest here. And if it comes out clean, which it does, clean as a whistle, then I know it's done. I usually put it on the cooling rack and let it sit like that for about 5 minutes. 5 minutes has gone by with it cooling this way. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put my rack on it like this and flip it over. And I'm gonna let it cool for 5 more minutes upside down. And let's see if we can pull it off of our pan. So I'm not gonna pick it up and shake it. I'm just gonna kind of slowly pop it out like this, and hopefully it releases as we go. And ta-da! We have got ourselves the perfect bundt cake. So I find the best way to do it is I like to use a measuring cup, and then I can put my hand right under there like that, and it gives me a good firm grip. And I'm just gonna slowly go back and forth like this, and I want it to run down the sides. Good, I'm gonna call that perfectly iced. And that's how you make a spiced pear bundt cake. If you found this video helpful, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more videos.